Welcome to the first of 3 programmes showcasing the best of RC Racing Series 1. This month we look at the IFMAR Electric World Championships, chatting with eventual winner Andy Moore, and taking a peek at the first of 3 stunning A-finals. Then we get bigger and go off-road with a Truggy A-final from the Neo Invitational event. But first, we're off to Italy. Welcome to RC Racing's coverage of the biggest event in scale racing, the 1/10th World Touring Car Championships. 144 drivers from 26 countries have gathered here in Turin, Italy for this biannual event to discover who is the world's best racer. So how do they separate the good from the very good and the very good from the best? Top British driver Andy Moore explains the qualification system.
We've got 4 rounds of qualifying today, but it's going to be your best 2 to count. So it's not actually done on times, but depending on where you finish in each round, you get a certain number of points. So the TQ man for a particular round will get 155 points, and then the second place gets 153, then 152, 151, 150, and it's your best 2 scores to count. And then if there is a tie at the end of it, then it will go on the fastest time for any particular round. So,
whilst the finals will have a traditional grid start, to ensure a level playing field in qualifying, each driver starts his run individually. The aim to do the most number of laps in 5 minutes. With so many top drivers, accurate timing is vital, and to this end an advanced computer system monitors each heat. Each car carries a unique transponder that automatically measures its lap time as it crosses the start line, and is accurate to 1,000th of a second. Once a heat has been completed, every car must be presented to scrutineering to make sure it complies with all the rules relating to power, tyres, weight and the width and height dimensions. Fail any one of these and your car is excluded from the result and you lose your time. But if you've passed scrutineering, it's time to check the results and see where you qualified, and if you're one of the 10 drivers who've made the A-main final and will fight for the World Championship. During some high-powered qualifying action, it became apparent that the battle for pole would be between defending world champion Mark Reinhardt of Germany, Britain's #1 Andy Moore, and the most successful man in the history of radio-controlled car racing, Japanese legend Masami Hirosaka. But at the end of the day, and by the narrowest margin, it was Andy who took pole position, and we caught up with him on the eve of the finals. Here you are at the pinnacle of the sport, but where did it all start?
About 18 years ago. It was quite a long time. My dad kind of got me into it. He spotted something at a local club. I think it must have been advertised in the paper maybe, and he took me down, thought it might be something that I might enjoy. Got me into it. He sort of bought all my cars for me, built them all, and I just kind of raced and messed about with friends. I wasn't really too into it back then, but it was about 18 years ago now.
So that would be what, off-road?
No, it was actually on road, just indoors at the local club. It was on carpet, so they were the old. It was a buggy car, but we just used to race indoors on carpet.
So when was it you suddenly realised, I'm quite good at that?
Probably not till around about 1992 when I started racing sort of regional level off road, and had a few sort of regional A final finishes and bits and bobs, and a few people sort of started noticing that I was okay. But then the end of 1994 was when I started racing 12 scale. That was the time when David won his first World Championships, and I started racing the same car, and my dad kind of got friends with his dad, and basically ever since then I've sort of followed what David did, and we worked as teammates, and he's taught me a lot of what I know now. So 12 scale wise, that's probably where I've gained most of my skill from, I'd say, because 94 to 98 I used to just race 12 scale non-stop, didn't race any other classes, and then touring car kind of started to become big around 98, and then since then I've been doing more and more and more, and now that's my main class.
So who was the first person to give you their products, or perhaps give you some money?
I think it was probably my My current boss, Jason Dearden from HPI Europe, he was running or owned Mirage RC back then, and they used to do Ryan batteries and Corelli motors. And I think they were the first people to give me some help with some form of sponsorship. So.
Now you're one of the very rare things, you're a factory driver. What does that actually inquire? I know I've seen you working in the office occasionally, but obviously you go out to a number of national and international meetings.
Well, I do actually have a full-time job at HBI Europe, but I'm in a lucky position whereas being part of the race team, that they let me go to sort of the major races, the ones that Tatsuro wants a team at. Then Jason's kind enough to let me go sort of whenever I need to go. So, but when I get back, then I have lots of emails to catch up on.
So Andy, how much chance do you get to actually do practice, testing a la Formula 1 cars and going off the track and just trying things out?
Not as much as I'd like to, but it's difficult because of the conditions back home. It's obviously a lot colder. The tracks are always very, well, we call it green, where there's very little traction. So the only testing like for this race that I could really do was at the warm-up race, which was in April, and obviously the track conditions here were a lot different because it was much colder. So it's not as easy as, for instance, some of the guys in the US can go and race a club race during the week or at the weekend. There's loads of people, the temperature's high, and the track gets a lot of grip, and it's easier to test stuff. But for me, it's not as easy. Purely because I live in the UK.
And the conditions haven't been really very conducive here, have they?
No, they've not. It's been a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. We were supposed to have, I think, 7 rounds of free practice on Wednesday, and we only got 4, and then the heavens opened. Yesterday then was supposed to be 1 round of control practice, and then all the qualifying should have started yesterday. We got that 1 round of control practice, but then down came the rain again.
It's qualifying, so you all theoretically go out by yourselves and you're not involved with anyone else. How different is it when you actually get to the race, the main finals?
Yeah, I'm not too sure exactly what's going to happen, but I mean everybody's so close, so it's going to be. I think everybody's full punch anyway in qualifying, so everybody's going to be just the same, but it's going to be the fastest 10 drivers all going for the same piece of asphalt. So.
And what standards of driving can we expect? Are you gentlemen, or is there a sort of element of, I don't know, of Portuguese footballer in you?
Well, I like to think that I'm pretty clean. There's certain people who you kind of know what to expect, but there's 2 referees up here, so they should be able to catch anything that goes on. So. And
do you think you'll be lifting the trophy tomorrow?
I'd like to think so.
After 3 intensive days of preparation and competition, this is what it's all been about. Coming up is the first race of the A-main final. Run over 3 legs with each driver's best 2 scores to count, anything can happen, and any one of the 10 drivers could end the day as world champion. Now it's over to John Hindhoff with your race commentary.
On pole position then, Andy Moore, the British driver on the Hot Bodies Cyclone. Then it's the Japanese, Hirosaka with the Yokomo BD. Mark Reinhardt, the German, and then first of 2 Americans, Lemieux ahead of Howard. Ronald Volker will be in 6th position. Then it's Victor Vilk, the Swedish driver. Further back in 8th, Craig Dreschler, another Brit coming back into the sport and doing quite well, ahead of the Thai driver, Siri Khan, and of course, the current European champion, Timo Lino, in 10th position. Andy Moore from pole position and gets away well. Hirosaka, Reinhardt. Howard's gone through into 4th place ahead of Lemieux in this early running. Being tagged by Lemieux and drops down the field. At the head though, it is still Andy Moore. Hirosaka in 2nd place. A little bit of argy-bargy in the midfield here. The leaders though coming through. Moore, Hirosaka and Reinhardt. 1, 2 and 3. Andy Moore just trying to hold his position there. Lemieux back into 4th position. The leaders beginning to pull away. A very technical circuit on the infield here, but some quick places. The car's getting up to 50 miles an hour, and that's a scale speed of 500 miles an hour. As Andy Moore, the Derbyshire driver, is leading. Hirosaka in 2nd, the Japanese. Well, what a career he's had. Multiple world champion in just about every car discipline, but strangely enough has never won this one in the touring car category, so perhaps something of unfinished business. In 2nd place at the moment, not really close enough to have a strike. There's the battle for 4th position, but the leaders are pulling away at the moment. And Andy Moore with a little bit of pressure starting to come now from the Japanese driver behind him, but not close enough to make that dive down the inside. There's a couple of good overtaking places here on this tight circuit. That's one of them. First right-hander on the brakes incredibly late on these 4-wheel drive cars. So much grip, it's unbelievable. In fact, they drive better than their full-sized counterparts. And look at the drifting of the top drivers in the world here. And it's still the Brit, Andy Moore, that leads out. Watching the clock as well, of course. This is a timed race. Still Hirosaka and Reinhardt, 2nd and 3rd. Very impressed with Andy. He's been psyching himself up for this one. Important to keep his cool. Just hold on to that lead. You'll notice some of the drivers take more curb than others. You don't want to unsettle the cars too much, because if you do get off the ground, even with 4-wheel drive, if none of the 4 wheels are touching the tarmac, then of course you're getting no forward motion at all. Once again through the twisty infield section, and you can see the skill of Andy Moore, who at the moment looks comfortable in the lead. I hope I haven't cursed him by saying that. Top 3 go through. Reinhardt, the German, with the Tamiya, won the World Championship in 2004 in Florida, and for some reason always wears a beanie hat. Some swapping and changing for the minor positions there, but we're focusing on the leader as Moore still leads out. Here's the battle for 6. Surakan, the 2002 World Championship, has a look at Volker and gets through. Classic overtaking manoeuvre on the right-hander there. Now back to the leaders. Still Andy Moore. He's been out there right from the start. Delighted to have qualified on the front row, and there's a problem further down the field. Fortunately, the car coming to rest on its wheels needed no intervention from the marshals. Moore then from pole got the start. He wants to be ahead of Hirosaka. He's heard the stories. He's seen the way that the Japanese driver puts himself around, but at the moment he's got enough of a lead that he doesn't have to worry about that challenge from behind. Mark Reinland, the German current world champion, still in 3rd position. Clock ticking down now, and if Hirosaka has got any extra speed, he needs to find it now through the faster parts of the circuit, and braking exceptionally late there into that right-hander. Just look at how that second car is sliding around. Clearly the Japanese driver in 2nd place is beginning to mount a challenge now. As time is running out, it won't be long. Now I'm afraid it's going to be now or never. And the lead is just beginning to come down a little bit. Huge amounts of grip from those front tyres on the slower sections. The car's really turning in very tightly, and it's easy to get on the power too early and loop the cars around. And now look at this, the battle for the lead. Time is ticking down, maybe 1, possibly 2 more laps before the end of this first A final. Yes, this is going to be the penultimate lap, and the Japanese in 2nd place obviously knows that. He's had the pit signal, and he's beginning to close down on Andy Moore. Not much time, it takes a lot of curve there. The Japanese driver in 2nd place lost a bit of ground. Now he's beginning to gain on the Englishman. Can he get close enough for an attack? Oh, very late on the brakes there. Surely no way through on the infield. But Hirosaka doesn't know that. He's trying everywhere at the moment. 1, 2, 3 goes to get through, and he's hit the leader. He's hit the leader, but Andy Moore manages to recover. Reinhardt has gone through into 2nd place. Well, we know the Japanese driver is well known for his hard tactics, and we saw it there, but it's a win for Andy Moore. Confirmation then that Andy Moore takes the victory from Mark Reinhardt. Hirosaka recovers to 3rd position after that last lap dice and dive down the inside. Then it's Paul Lemieux, Craig Jessler, Ronald Volker, Timo Lino up to 7th from 10th on the grid, Surakan, Vilk and Howard making up the top 10.
Andy back in the cooler pits, but that was a very hot race there, and congratulations, you are one half of the way there to being world champion.
Halfway there, yeah. One to go, so we'll see what happens. But yep, that all went well. The last lap got a little bit close. Masami just managed to close in. He made an attack, but kind of cost him more than it cost me. So yeah, everything was okay in that one, and we'll
It started very well. You managed to hold a pretty consistent second lap. Then in those last few laps, Masami did come back at you. Was he saving his car, or were you driving more conservatively?
I was trying to drive a little bit more conservatively and just trying to keep everything absolutely perfectly online. And obviously, seeing him catch so quickly, then you're trying to defend, and then you sometimes overshoot. And I made just a couple of little errors, just like maybe, I don't know, half a foot past the corner on a few occasions, but apart from that, everything was okay.
And what went through your mind at the exact moment of impact? If it's printable.
Here we go again, because no, I'm not going to go there, but I kind of expected something at some point, but
it cost him in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe he won't do it again, but we'll see.
Best of luck for next finals. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Now we go off-road with the Truggy A final from the Neo Invitation event. Let's join John Hindhoff with your race commentary.
The A Truggy final then. 12 of the best are standing by for action. We're waiting for the flag to go up and the hooter to sound. A little bit of creeping in the middle of the grid, but it's a relatively clean start. No, it's not. And the second place man, that's the Spaniard Bate, who is thrown off to the left-hand side of the track. Drake has got away very well indeed. The American on the low-C buggy has disappeared in the distance already. Look at that lead from Alsop there, coming through into second place. Then there's quite a battle for third and fourth. Drake in the bright yellow machine is third and fourth. Clash there on one of the whoops, and that's dropped them back just a little bit. That's the Spaniard fighting back in fourth position there. Great start by Elliot Boots, who's come up from 11th to third in the opening stages. There's Alsop going through in second. What a battle for third, fourth, and fifth now as Andrew Smollink comes through. And looks like a little mistake there. Yes, the Spaniard's gone back through into third. Mistake by Boots. And Smollink's gone through. Smollink's gone through as well. Oh, that's tremendous stuff. So he's had a good start as well. Started in 7th position and now up into third. There's the Spaniard in 4th position now. And just not quite looking as confident, is he, as some of the other drivers over the whoops. Meantime, Adam Drake is just disappearing at the distance as Robert Bataille there has another little look. This is a great battle for third position, and they're gaining, you know, they are gaining on Graham Alsop. There he is, and again just a bit of understeer through the final corner at the start finish line from Smolnik, and that might have cost him the place. It has. New third place man as Robert Bataille has gone through and immediately begins to try and get onto the tail end of that second place buggy. And look at that, second, third and fourth together. Drivers having to try and control the cars in the air, and that's very well done by Robert Bataille. He's gone back through into second, so a disastrous start for the Spaniard. He's now managed to regain second position, and oh, that's the third and fourth together. Alsop has had it coming together with Smolnik, and that's dropped them way down. Yeah, they've at least lost a couple of places. I'm sure I saw Daniel Vega go through there, and also Greg Degani. So that's pushed them down. Drake leads from Battle. That's ahead of this battle for what now, 5th and 6th. And oh, that's very lucky. Back onto the wheels. Didn't lose too much time there. And has managed to hold on. Smolnik just getting back up now behind the rear wheels of Vega. Has a little, oh, and he's over. That's Vega that's gone over. And very quick action by the marshal means he doesn't lose too much track position. Here's the battle for 5th and 6th position. Smolnik having a little look on Alsop as Degani going through the shot. That's all closing up again in the midfield, isn't it? Look at the speeds down the main straight. Very, very technical indeed. Oh, there's another problem. That's going to cost a lot of time. Now, Smolnik gets a great jump there and doubles the last whoops and takes a position. Oh, well, was that a mistake by Alsop? Perhaps just being a little bit conservative as he attacked the middle centre, the centre section of the whoops there. Should really be doubling it, a driver of his calibre, and it's cost him the position. Smolnik then moving up one, and now tries to close in on the American, Greg Degani. There's the leader. the other American, we could almost say we haven't seen much of him, because Adam Drake has led from the hooter, and that is sheer class. Just watch how he controls the buggy over the bigger whoops by accelerating or braking to just change the attitude of the vehicle in the air. Now, Losi buggy, bright yellow, easy for us commentators to spot, but really it's much easier to say he's just so far ahead that we know who he is. Right, now back to the battles further down the field. That's the Mugen buggy of Stuart Wilcox, Jamie Booth in 6th position, then Allsop and Vegas right there as well. So the bottom half of the top 10 very close together, and a problem there. And that, I think, was Jamie Booth, who has dropped out of that little battle. Wilcox still leading it. Oh, and Vega has another little incident as well. Oh, and look at that. Oh, dear me. All of them involved there at one stage or another. Stuart Wilcox loses the position. Here's the leader. Adam Drake carving his way through the carnage on the infield, already lapping people. Expect to see the leader making a pit stop shortly. These buggies run about 8 minutes on a tank, and yes, he's in. And that's Dave Spatchett there, the world champion in 12 scale electric, doing the pit work for the leader. And that was very rapid indeed. Quick on the track and quick on the service as well from Dave. And I don't think the leader actually lost the number 1 position. No, he has not. What a turnaround. And remember, everyone else needs to pit as well. Now in the background there's Elliot Boots, the junior rallycross champion in the Kyosho, and he's ended up on his roof, I'm afraid. And that's going to drop him a few positions. Shame for the 13-year-old, because he made such a great start. I know he's just lost his rhythm for the moment. He was up to 3rd at one position, and just trying to get the rhythm back. And that looks like Allsop coming back at him there. And more problems. That's Jamie Booth, and that looks like a steering arm. Yes, the marshal pointing it out. Now that's Neil Cragg there, who's the 2-wheel drive world champion, working in the pits for Booth. Now this is Allsop just leading Boots. Elliott going round the outside. This is a great battle, isn't it? Side by side over the whoops. Let's have a look. And again, Allsop just that little bit conservative. We've seen that with him before. Little shortcut from the youngster, and he can't. No, I think he may have had a problem there. And here's another one in the pit lane. That is the Spaniard, and it looks like Robert Battle's wheels off there. Yes, you can see it, the left rear wheel. And there is Robert. I'm afraid his afternoon is over. A real test of endurance, this race, and we are seeing quite a lot of breakdowns. And there's another one, and that's Greg Tagani, one of the front runners. Well, he's turned over. Is he going to be able to get going again? An uncharacteristic mistake, and that looks like problems. Technical problems for Tagani. The American, well, the quizzical look on the marshal says it all. He's basically saying, shall I bring this back to you, sir? There's the battle for 2nd and 3rd. Allsop again looking a bit conservative, and Smolnik goes through. They've got the leader behind him. Adam Drake has lapped everybody up to that 2nd and 3rd place battle. And again, I'm afraid that Graham Allsop was just a little bit too cautious over those central whoops, and he's lost 2nd place there. But in fairness, it's all been about this yellow Losi buggy of Adam Drake. The American has come and conquered, coming through to what I think will be his last lap now. He's been out front since the hooter sounded, and really doesn't have to do any more than finish this last tour. In fairness to the Europeans, this is a very American-style course, but the kind of skill that we've just seen there from Adam Drake as he controls the buggy in the air is what has allowed him to dominate this event, and it's been real domination as he's lapped pretty much the entire field of 12 very good drivers. Half a lap to go. Can't relax too much, but he'll want to come home in style, and he is beginning to throw it around a bit. The checkered flag is ready. He goes across the line and wins it. Smolnik will be 2nd, and Graham Allsop is 3rd. They've had a race-long battle, but it's all about the American. Confirmation of the results then, that dominating performance by Adam Drake. Andrew Smolnik up from 7th at the start to finish 2nd. Then Graham Allsop, and another good performance from Richie Gomez, up from 10th for 4th for the Spaniard.
That's all for this first Best Of compilation. But we're back with more highlights next month. In the meantime, check out www.rcracing.tv for all the latest news about the show. You've got that bit of magic behind the sticks.